Voice of the Cage.
We have reached the main event of the evening.
This is Voice of the Cage Radio with Patrick Stanger. Fighters, trainers, promoters, events, rumors. If it has to do with MMA, we're talking about it.
This is Tito Ortiz. You're listening to Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Hey, this is Chuck Liddell. You're listening to Voice of the Cage, Patrick Stanger.
On the phone with me right now is Sugar Rashad Evans, the UFC former light heavyweight champion and also season 2 winner of The Ultimate Fighter. Heavyweights, correct, Rashad?
Yeah, heavyweight.
You fought with the heavyweights. You're 5'11". And what were you weighing at the time of the show?
225.
225, and you defeated a guy that was 6'7" in the finale.
Yeah, huge, giant.
Man, that must have been looking at like all arms the whole time. I mean, you're just looking at like fighting a crab or something.
It was, and it was crazy because he was so strong. He was like one of the strongest dudes I ever fought. But I don't even, looking back, I don't even know how he got inside. I just didn't care.
Yeah, didn't you finish him with a head kick?
No,
I'm kidding. Yeah, I like watching your blogs and some of the video stuff that is posted online. In the UFC behind the scenes stuff, when it shows you training, it shows your diet, and you really take a scientific approach, and you're serious. I mean, this is a business for you. I mean, you go to work like you're in a suit. You take it very seriously with your vitamins. I mean, all this stuff. It's really interesting. Give me your approach on that. Have you always approached life this way in particular?
No. It's something I'm learning to do as I get a little bit older and more experience in the sport. I've recently just started realizing how big nutrition is and stuff like that when it comes to training and getting the best out of your body. Before I used to think it was just about me just willing myself to do it, but you only can do that for so long, and when you get a certain age, some of the things that you got away with when you're younger, you can't get away with anymore. Yeah,
I totally agree with you, man. I have to really be careful about my diet. I mean, the slightest little thing can throw me off as you start to get older, and
it really can, and it'll like ruin your day too.
When I was a teenager in the early 20s, I could just drink and party and have a good time and eat what I wanted. That'd be fine. I needed 4 hours of sleep. Now I got to have 8.
Yeah, if I hang out and party and drink and stuff, it takes about 3 days to recover.
And how often do you train?
When I'm in training camp, I train 6 days a week. When I'm not in training camp, I haven't been able to train much this time, but I try to train at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. So give me a rundown of a basic training camp. I mean, are you doing like 3 a days when you're in a training camp?
Sometimes I can do 3 days, but for the most part, it's just 2 practices. It's 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. Saturday, it's just 1 practice.
And how long do they usually last?
They're about 2 hours, 2.5 hours sessions each time.
Wow.
Yeah, so, sometimes you go 2 to 3 hours, but it varies in intensity. It's not like I'm just like going nuts the whole 3 hours. Sometimes it's a lot of technique, a lot of repetition, and then you get those bursts in there where you actually got to work on your conditioning and doing stuff that's particular to the fight.
You're a very athletic fighter. Looked, extremely sharp in your last fight. Not that you haven't ever looked sharp, because you have. It just looked like you had it together. Physically, mentally, everything seemed to be clicking for you. How did you feel in your last fight?
I felt great in my last fight. That was a fight I went into the cage and I felt the less. I didn't feel any worries. I had no mental baggage, and it was just about performing. I got a great team around me with authentic management, and with ASM, Authentic Sports Management, they make sure everything is just so cool that I don't really got to worry about anything else but fighting. So, that was just my mindset going into the fight. I just been relaxed and having everything taken care of. So when I stepped to the cage, I just knew what I had to do, because I've been only focusing on that for the last 2-3 months.
You're at the new fight camp now, right? You left Jackson's camp because of the Jon Jones situation.
Yeah, I'm in South Florida in Boca Raton, training with the Blackzilians, and we got a really good gym, got a really good coach out there, Mike Van Arsdale, and Sergio Babu is the jiu-jitsu coach, and we have Henry Ruth as the striking coach. So we got some really good coaches out there in South Florida.
Tell me about the Blackzilians.
The Blackzilians?
Yeah.
The Blackzilians is just a bunch of guys, just working hard workers, some of our guys, most of our guys come from the old ATT guys, and they wanted to break away and do something of their own. And we all come together. We have Michael Johnson, we have Rumble Johnson coming out, and just everybody. We got Tyrone Spung coming out from Holland, K1 guy. So everybody energy just kind of clicked, and it's crazy because we keep attracting the same kind of energy, same kind of mindset, and the team just keeps getting bigger and bigger and better and better.
What's your favorite art to train in during, what's your favorite class? Would you say?
I love jiu-jitsu. I love striking class.
Jiu-jitsu and striking, just generally boxing?
Like Muay Thai, striking.
Okay, all right.
But I love boxing. I do love boxing.
Yeah, you got I see a little bit boxer in you,
Yeah. Boxing was one of my primary sports when I started off. I started boxing when I was like 14 years old. I went to this pal gym. My uncle used to run this pal gym in Niagara Falls, New York, and I used to go to the gym all the time and train.
Do you ever train in a gi?
Yeah, I trained in a gi a few times. It's pretty cool, but it's a lot. It's a different world, totally different world.
A little more slow, a little technical.
Yeah, it's really technical, slow. It translates to a degree when it comes to just far as working on technique and stuff like that. But for me, I like to go no gi because that's what I do. So I'm always no gi. So it makes really no sense for me right now at this stage to do everything gi.
Let's talk about the big show, UFC 135, Rampage Jackson versus Jon Jones. Both of these guys, I could see you having, you have some bad blood with both of these guys. Now, Jon Jones was your former training partner, and that area never really resolved. I know you weren't going to fight him at one time, and then he came out and said that he would fight you if that's what the UFC wanted to do. And then you said, okay, I'd be willing to fight you. You're obviously going to get the winner of this match. Who would you like to fight more? And I'm sure you get asked that constantly, but who would you like to fight more?
Just because of the bad blood, and I just like Jon Jones more. I'd rather fight him.
Who do you think is going to win the fight? What's your prediction?
Well, I was thinking he was going to win the fight, but then I got a glimpse into Rampage's camp yesterday, and Rampage is looking pretty good, man. And just by pure accident because we're both sponsored by Muscle Farm.
Well, you were
to check out the facility.
Oh, I see. Now, you were on The Ultimate Fighter, obviously, with Rampage Jackson. And, man, that was an entertaining show. I loved watching you guys go back and forth. And that's when I started to become more of a fan of yours, when you actually did that show. I got to see how you reacted. I thought you had a lot of class. And Rampage, that's like a big part of his game. Like, he tries to get inside your head. I mean, he was trying to get in your head the whole time. And you could see it didn't seem to bother you too much, even though, sometimes I would see, look like you wanted to punch him, of course. But I look at Jon Jones and, obviously he's newer to the game and it looks like Rampage is getting to him. Do you see that?
Yeah, Rampage he's really getting to him. He's really getting to him bad, because, Jon's not used to that kind of verbal onslaught by anybody. He's used to, what he tries to do is try to play a humble role and then go from there. But Rampage is giving it to him, and he's taking it so personal that he's really starting to get mad about it, like really starting to think about it a lot.
It's got to be tough for a young fighter being the champ like that. I mean, really just popping up overnight, obviously very talented. But then, next thing you know, you're having to defend your belt against Rampage Jackson that's just constantly talking trash. And I got to say, it's pretty entertaining. It's pretty entertaining to watch Rampage. And, how much of this game, the fight game, do you think is mental as opposed to physical talent and ability?
I think it's about 75 to 80% mental.
Wow.
It's a huge mental part, man. I've seen guys that were just absolute animals in the gym. Like, you can't, you're like, man, these guys got to be a world champion. And then you see them fight, and they cannot be further from that person you see in the gym. You're just like, what happened to that guy that I see in the gym all the time? So it's really mental, because, what it comes down to is people have a hard time with being out of control. And when you go into a fight, you're not in control. And see, in practice, you're in control to an extent because whatever happens, if you don't like what's happening, you can always say, all right, I'm good, you know. But when you're in a fight, you're out of control, and people have a hard time with dealing with that mentally, not being in control, and the performance suffers because of it.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you joining me today, and I wish you luck in the future, man. And look forward to watching you fight again, Rashad. Thanks.
Oh, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
This is Carlos Condit, and you're listening to Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Hi, here's Vanderlei Silva, and you're listening Voice of the Cage with Patrick Stanger.
Thanks for listening to Voice of the Cage Radio. Email questions, inquiries, and other business to info@voiceofthecage.com. Facebook search Voice of the Cage and like to get the latest Voice of the Cage radio show. To book Patrick Stanger at your next fight promotion, visit voiceofthecage.com.